Special guest panellist tonight, Melbourne Storm and Queensland star Christian Welch. Christian, we spend a lot of time on this show, talking and debating and getting angry about rule changes, refereeing decisions. So we thought we'd throw a few questions your way tonight on where it sits as a player. We've seen the set restart come in through the COVID period. And right now, where do you think it stands in the game? Have players adapted? Have the refs adapted? Have fans adapted? Is it here to stay? Yeah,
I think everyone's adapted. I didn't think the game was broken though, to be honest. I love those grinding contests. There's so many of those state of origins where you have to really earn the field position, earn the right to score tries, and we've changed the game, and I think changing it before road testing it in our reserve grade competitions, you have unintended consequences. So I think we're now dealing with that and reacting, and it's good. I think the refs, to their credit, they've got a tough gig. Every year there's rules changes, and they're doing their best.
I feel like the rule change is the fact that we brought the penalty back in the 40-metre zone, and there's a lot of stoppages for HIAs at the moment. I feel like the big man's come back into the game. I feel those 2 years during COVID, the big man was starting to almost get wound out of the game because it was so fast. But I feel like this year, the big man, the Sofa Solomones of the game have come back into the game.
Yeah, not ideal for a bloke like me. So I
you're big enough.
I'm not big enough. Talking to Big Saifidi earlier, they're big boys, and it actually helped me a little bit because I'm about 110 kilos. But we got guys up to 140, 130 kilos, huge, powerful guys. So, but yeah, it's great to see. It's good to see the big boys back in and thriving again.
And clubs are almost recruiting, well, they are recruiting ex-referees as well to try and help them keep up with the changes. Has that been hard as a player to sort of, I guess, learn on the run and make sure week to week you're across if there has been something tweaked in the game?
Yeah, it's funny, you kind of have a long pre-season, and then generally 3 or 4 weeks before round one, there's always a memo sent out from the NRL, we're going to focus on this, or, might be rolling the ball or something. So you kind of have to be... you have to be active in that area to take advantage of it. And I think the teams at the top of the ladder, really those small 1%ers, they pay attention to those kind of things. And, we saw, it was farcical on the weekend about Ben hunting that, but he understood the rules and he did it, and he got his team to win. And, it's not right or anything. And I think that'd be one of the biggest rule changes I'd make, actually, would be, we play past the 80 minutes, finish out the whole set. If that's what we're going to do and we're just going to give away 6 agains, keep it running. Let's finish the whole set in that in goal. What do you reckon, Gus?
Yeah.
More rule changes?
Yeah, have more rule changes. It's good. I like it. From the perspective of, and this word, the wrestle, people have talked about the dominance of wrestle in the game and how bad the wrestle was for the game. In your terms, what did that mean? What did the wrestle mean? And how much of that do you think has been eliminated because of the rule changes?
Yeah, it's really hard. I guess it's, what do we want our game to look like? I love that war of attrition, the grind, the contests, and, we've just kind of taken that away, the last 2 years. But I think we've kind of gotten back to a more reasonable pace where there's a bit of a better balance, and that's from the referees' kind of skill. It's not from any rule changes, I think, and obviously the penalty coming out, that helps also. But I guess, you hear about V'landys talking about the consumer and the fan. They're the ones who turn on the lights and pay for it. I didn't think we had a broke product, but obviously he's a fan of rugby league. He loves our game and he's trying to make it more appealing, I guess. It's not my cup of tea, but it's all right. It's in a good state, rugby league.
What do the players think at the moment about the bunker and the constant stoppages in the game? I went to a game on the weekend, actually, for the Tigers game, and I was shocked at how, and obviously I'm here all the time, but I was shocked at how many stoppages there were throughout the game, and HIA stoppages and stoppages for the bunker. What do players think of it?
Yeah, I think, we bring in this 6 again rule to speed up the game. It was the same time they brought the Captain's Challenge in, so it kind of didn't make much sense, I think the Captain's Challenge has its purpose now and does some good things, but at the same time, it's not a stoppage, it's another rest. So it kind of contradicts what the game's trying to achieve, I think, at times.
Does the head injury assessment system work for you?
I think so, yeah, and I think it's great that we've really matured in that space. I think when I first came into first grade and eras before that, the whole stigma of trying to play through a head knock, it's just nonsense. You play footy until you're about 30. If you're lucky, have a good career. So I think the NRL has been a leader in that space. I think it's really good.
What about? Let's get to the actual football. The gap, and we've seen it in particular over the last few seasons between the best and the rest. And at the moment, it's the Penrith Panthers who are, I guess, miles away As Gus believes, it's just a one-team competition at the moment. But the battling sides, do you believe that the system's broke, or do you believe there's always going to be those sides that just can't compete with the top 6, 7 teams?
I think it's particularly tough for Sydney clubs. You know, if you're a player and you have kids in primary school and a club offers you another 50,000 and you can stay in your house, not move your family, you'll probably take that money. And, you know, it's so competitive. If you're a struggling Sydney club, it's really hard to get out of that because there's so much density of clubs. But, yeah, I was talking earlier, you got to do what the Knights did a couple of years ago when they were really struggling. Go find the next Callum Ponga and just go buy him and just lock him up.
Build the club around him.
Build it, yeah. Well, it's a tough gig. I obviously don't know. I'm just a current player, but that's what I'd probably think about.
What about the fact there's a 17th team coming next year and they're looking to bring an 18th team in the next few years? Yep. Is there enough talent? I don't think there's enough talent. What do you think?
I think we need to seriously look at a loan system. I know we called it a loan when Harry Grant and Momorowski switched, but it wasn't actually a loan. But I think the game needs to be really smart in how do we use talent and, you know, the most efficient use of talent. You know, some clubs have 3 or 4 really gun fullbacks. You know, if they can be getting experience at another club that has a need for that, you know, I think it's a win-win. I think if you set it up in the right way, I think that could be something you look at.
Tell me, would the modern day player accept for the best interests of the game, and I'm not saying the game is ready for it now, but if we got to a point over the next decade where we could look after the development of the next generation of players, would players, both in the NRL and outside the NRL, accept for the good of the game a draft system where players went onto a draft, where you put the amount of money you want to earn and then you were selected by any club, you didn't pick and choose which club you went to?
No, I wouldn't think so. I think it's... this is probably
even if it's in the best interest of the game?
Well, yeah. No, I still don't think they would. I think... it's a restraint of trade. I think it's a great ability, and you know whether it's right or wrong for the good of the game. A player deciding he can play for his hometown club, you know, a Penrith junior can come through and play there. I think there's a lot of good narratives. I think if we go to a draft, are we talking about the Penrith Panthers and how much grassroots players have come through? You know, the Clearys and the Luais, those high school Penrith kids who come through and they've won.
They don't have to leave.
But they'd have to get drafted by Penrith.
No, because there'd be a development system where you're able to corral a certain number of development players. You don't have to leave, and internal draft is different to external draft. But so, there are professional codes all over the world where the draft is a big deal, and they've survived the test of time. This is a professional code now, and you're earning really good money. Yeah. I'm saying in the best interest of the game and the evenness of the competition, whether or not the players would consider a draft, to be put onto a draft before they change clubs, or stay at the club they're in.
So it's an external draft that the Heartlands
There are two drafts.
Talent?
It's an external draft and an internal draft.
Well, I just don't know how that would work. So, and it annoys me a bit when they go, oh, Penrith's a junior a development club, you know, and like, did Penrith Panthers develop Nathan Cleary, or did the high school he went to, the local Heartland, are they enjoying the privilege of being in a rugby league Heartland, unlike teams like Melbourne, who they've basically had to get rugby league going in Victoria? I don't know, should a professional franchise enjoy the benefits of just being in a rugby league Heartland over, you know, a club like that? I don't know.
Yeah, there's no easy answer to that one.